couple decided to get married, and so they went to see their pastor. And the pastor sat them down in his office, and he started to ask them questions. One of the first questions he asked them was, do you enter into this marriage of your own free will? Well, there was a pause that followed, an awkward silence, and the young woman leaned over to the young man and said, say yes, dear. Fellow Toastmasters, there's a funny thing about free will. We walk around life thinking that we are in control of the decisions that we make on a daily basis, and that we're in control of the ideas that enter our heads. But I'm here tonight to suggest to you that this feeling of control, this feeling of free will, is actually an illusion. Let's look at the decisions we make. Now, you all feel like you made the decision to come here tonight of your own free will, I would imagine. You could have chosen to stay home, or perhaps chosen to go somewhere else. But you didn't. You chose to come here, and that was your decision to make, and you made it. You were in control of it. Right? Nope, wrong. And it's wrong because every decision you make is influenced by an uncountable number of forces that are all completely out of your control. If you were born in Pakistan, for example, and never had the opportunity to learn English, and never had the opportunity to move to North Carolina, there's no chance that you would have decided to come to this meeting tonight. Now, in the same respect, you didn't decide who the parents were that you were born to. You didn't decide their value system, their socioeconomic level, their religion or lack of religion. You didn't decide the country you were born in. You didn't decide the culture you were born in. You didn't decide the time period you were born in. All these things, all these forces, are completely out of your control, and they all shaped who you are, your values, and the decisions that you make. Well, let's just even look at today. You don't control the weather. There could have been a freak storm. Hurricane Dorian could have swept through today, and we would have had to cancel a meeting. You didn't control that. Nor did you control the possibility of whether there was some emergency that happened that required your appearance in some other location. So we feel that we have control of the decisions that we make, but in actuality, we don't, because those decisions are shaped by an uncountable number of forces, some of which I just mentioned, that are all completely out of your control. But let's put that to the side. Okay, external forces. I can't control external forces. But surely I can control what goes on in my mind, right? You all think you can control your thoughts, right? Well, no, you can't. That's not true either. You don't know the next thought that's going to appear in your mind. It just sort of happens, right? But you have the feeling that you control that thought. But that feeling is an illusion. In reality, you don't control your thinking any more than you control the beating of your heart, or the breathing of your lungs when you're asleep, or the secretion of insulin from your pancreas. All these are bodily functions. They're all happening inside of you, just like your thoughts. But you don't control them. And if you put any sort of analysis onto your thoughts, you'll realize that you don't control your thoughts either. So why am I talking about all this? Well, several weeks ago, I made the decision to be a contestant in this contest, humorous speech contest. And I sat down to think about what I wanted to talk about, but nothing came to me. My mind went completely blank, and I started to get nervous and panicky because I decided to be a contestant in this contest, and if I got up here and didn't have anything to say, that would be pretty embarrassing. It's happened before. And not only did I have to come up with a topic, a speech, but it had to be humorous. That means what I came up with had to be funny, and people would have to laugh in reaction to me saying it to you. And if I got up here and you didn't laugh, Well, that would be pretty embarrassing too. And so, yeah, I got nervous and I got panicky. But then all of a sudden, I had a realization, and that realization lifted the burden off of my shoulders. And that realization is, it's not my responsibility to come up with a humorous speech. Thank you for laughing. It's not my responsibility, because that decision that I made to enter this contest was shaped by an uncountable number of forces that are all completely out of my control. And I can't even control the thoughts that appear. So how in the hell am I going to come up with a humorous speech? I can't, obviously. And so with that realization, the burden lifted, my mind cleared, I relaxed, and the thoughts began to flow. And that flow of thoughts resulted in the speech that I just delivered to you today. Thank you.